My name is John. I was on the brink of divorce and nearly lost my company due to the schemes of my ex-wife, Linda, and her affair partner, Mike. I took action against Mike, who was part of a gangster group and had threatened me. Some time has passed since the affair was discovered and I've calmed down a bit. But Linda's actions were too strange even after I think about it calmly. I think having an affair is something to be ashamed of, but Linda did it so blatantly, as if telling me to notice it. For example, she would leave her phone in view with the screen open to her chats with Mike, or she would come home with the scent of unfamiliar soap after a night out without saying anything. Linda's behavior was so bold that I began to doubt my own senses, understanding that divorce was the only option. I picked up divorce papers from the city office during work, but looking back on my marriage, I couldn't help but tear up. I wanted a peaceful divorce, but couldn't take action due to lingering feelings. However, I decided to put an end to it. Linda's infidelity was confirmed, and I thought things would turn out in my favor. A week after my decision, I successfully got a divorce, but it turned complicated. In the end, Linda and Mike received prison sentences. On the day I decided to divorce, I mustered the courage and initiated the conversation with Linda. Let's talk tonight. You know what about, right?
Of course. Why don't we all talk together?
All of us. At that time, I was puzzled, but then Linda called Mike in front of me. Then it all made sense. I was confused, but Linda, as if they had agreed beforehand, smoothly arranged the meeting. No matter how much I questioned her, she seemed to completely disregard me, smoothly ignoring everything. Then, at night, the doorbell rang.
Welcome, Mike.
Linda greeted him with a purring voice. Mike entered with a sly grin, looking every bit the part of a shady character. The atmosphere was far from conducive to a peaceful conversation. Behind Mike were 5 rough-looking men, none of whom I recognized, and their purpose for being there was unclear. Mike walked into my house as if he owned the place. At that moment, I was sure he had been here before.
These guys are my crew. Let's have them wait at the entrance.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? There's no way I'll allow this. This is my house. Don't mess around too much.
Well, let's just go to the living room anyway.
From her behavior, I knew Linda was plotting something with Mike, but I was so shocked and panicked that I ended up sitting in the dining room as told. Across from me were Linda and Mike, with the divorce papers I had prepared on the table.
This is about the divorce, right?
You were having an affair with Mike. You made it so obvious. You must be quite determined.
There's no point in staying with you anymore, John. I've chosen Mike to enrich my life. I'll sign the divorce papers now, but I want you to listen to us. Give the company's management rights to me and Mike.
How convenient for you. I just wanted a peaceful divorce, and I haven't fully come to terms with it yet. Honestly, I still have feelings for Linda. I will ask you to pay alimony for closure, but I wanted to keep it reasonable. Yet, you invite Mike over and start making outrageous demands about the company's management. You should be the ones making concessions. I won't let you have your way anymore. At that moment, Mike swung his fist at me without hesitation. It hit my right cheek cleanly, causing pain and shock I hadn't felt in a while, making me stagger.
Quit your whining. Sign it now. You see, I have 5 guys waiting at the entrance. We're all tough ones. It's better for you to just listen to us. You were indeed a kind husband, John. A normal woman would have been happy and satisfied with this marriage. But it wasn't enough for me. I have dreams to own my company and become the president. That's why I married you, John. It's because you are CEO of a big company. Starting a business and getting it off the ground is hard, right? Marrying a CEO and getting the management rights seemed surer and easier. My miscalculation was that you never revealed you were the CEO, pretending to be just a regular employee. With all the money you are making, it must be a large company, right? Yet you never even talked about co-management, no matter how long I waited. I endured marriage for nothing. I don't need you anymore. I might not be used to management, but I have saved enough money to recover from any failure. My men are willing to follow me. I'll be a much better boss than you. We'll all rise together. Linda and I will continue to be good partners, both in public and private. And as a celebration of our new beginning, Give us $10,000 now, or do you want another punch? It's your choice. Decide before your face swells up.
I wondered why a plain-looking guy like me was able to marry a young and beautiful woman like you, Linda. Did you know I wasn't just an employee but the CEO from the start? It was a marriage of convenience then. I'll contact my men to bring the $10,000 severance. Linda, this is a clear-cut divorce. Then I called my men. Mike was closely watching, perhaps thinking I was calling the police. I need $10,000 in cash. Bring it to my house. After I hung up, Mike snatched my phone.
First, sign the divorce papers. Then write about the company rights. Hurry up before my men arrive.
Mike was clearly used to intimidation. He must be no good. In Mike's hand was a contract, presumably instructed by Linda to bring. Likely, it detailed the company's management rights.
The one bringing the money will be greeted by us. From today on, instead of John, we are the company CEOs. If anyone protests, we'll silence them right there. I'll teach them what reality is.
Linda was looking at Mike adoringly, probably excited about her dreams coming true and a future with Mike. Mike was clearly a damaged individual, while Linda was just a slightly strong-willed ordinary person. There's no way she can control Mike, and she certainly can't manage our unique company properly. Well, that future would never come anyway.
Are they here?
The moment the doorbell rang, Linda and Mike's eyes widened in shock.
What's happening?
Almost simultaneously with the sound of the front door opening, the groans of Mike's 5 men were heard, and it was clear what had happened to them even without looking through the walls. Tension was evident on Linda and Mike's faces. Feeling that someone formidable was entering the house, their attention naturally focused on the living room door. Then, with a click, the door opened, revealing the intruder's identity. A menacing man in a black suit, with a strong build, entered the living room. He was not alone. A large group of men followed, pouring in so numerously that it was hard to count at a glance.
Hey, what are you doing in my house? What the hell, man? What did you do to my men? You won't get away with this.
Despite the situation, Mike was still barking boldly, but the men in black suits paid him no mind. They entered with short steps, and the spacious living room was quickly taken over by them.
Young master, I brought the $10,000.
The leader smirked.
And for fun, I brought along 100 men. What happened to your face, young master?
He hit me.
You mean you let him hit you? But hitting the young master, that won't go unpunished.
You guys, just because you have the numbers, don't get cocky. Do you even know who I am? I'm a member of the Carter Group. A gangster. What do you mean? I didn't hear about this.
Who would have thought it's you, Mike?
Jack, you're Jack.
Mike, previously so bold, panicked upon seeing Jack. Jack was one of my men.
Jack, why are you here? Young master, could it be?
That's right. I dropped the bombshell. My grandfather is the head of the Carter Group. With that revelation, Mike collapsed to his knees in defeat, falling for a civilian woman and secretly marrying her, only to end up attracting this kind of trouble. Why not just give up on management and fully return to our world? I married Linda, keeping secret that I was part of the gang. My father was fortunate to marry a civilian woman who understood our world, and they are still doing well together. But I know that's a rare case. Ashamedly, I was head over heels for Linda and wanted to be with her at all costs. So I kept our family business a secret all this time. Years of living with Linda made it increasingly clear to me that even if I were honest, she wouldn't accept it like my mother did. While I continued to manage the company influenced by my grandfather, supporting Linda, I knew I couldn't hide my gang ties forever. Then came Linda's affair suspicion. Feeling inferior about this life, I thought it was the right time to sort out my feelings and desired a peaceful divorce. But Linda's unnecessary scheming led to this mess.
The Carter Group. What are you talking about? I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I was tempted. Spare my life. Hey, come on, Mike.
Mike, you said you had funds. Where did they come from?
Well, that's
I had him run phone scams. He was a former scammer.
phone scams. A scammer.
The 5 guys at the entrance were part of the same team. Were you counting on the gang's revenue?
I'm sorry. I never imagined you as the person you are. John, I'm so sorry. Won't you listen to me, Mike?
A scammer picked up by the gang, confined, moving large sums with subordinates, got delusions of grandeur, without the real understanding of this world. Don't think you can easily leave the life. As you know, our organization is large, and we have faces to save in front of others. Understand?
Yes.
Young master, what should we do? Will it be concrete or Hudson Bay? Normally we wouldn't bother, but he's crossed you, so we'll settle it properly. My mistake led to his rampage. Leave it to me. I'll handle it smoothly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just as John said, it was all a misunderstanding. I grew up poor and desperate. Scamming was the only way to survive. My men felt the same. We had camaraderie, and with just one phone call, we could make a fortune, get women, and I thought I could turn my life around in one shot.
Mike was crying and trembling, begging for mercy. A far cry from the man who tried to intimidate me and take over the company. At the same time, Linda's judgment in trying to run a company with such a person was unfathomable. For Linda, a civilian, perhaps this whole affair was too thrilling, as her face turned red with anger and then pale with despair, changing colors frantically.
John, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
She repeated, apologizing profusely after joining Mike in blaming me and sabotaging herself beyond excuse. Where did you learn that I was running the company?
Well, I was working in trade, you know. I heard from a colleague about a regular at a cafe near the company who was the boss, and that was you, John. So I approached you and started talking. During our relationship, I became certain of your business leadership through our conversations.
Well, until I met you, Linda, I wasn't hiding the fact that I was the CEO. By the way, it seems you never understood what kind of company it was, but how were you planning to manage it? I doubt it would have been manageable for you. I gave her the biggest smile of the day. We export highly effective traditional medicine to Southeast Asia.
What?
Overwhelmed by the information, Linda seemed to overheat, foaming at the mouth and collapsing. Mike was taken to another room, and I left the rest to my executives. That's the end of this saga. Afterwards, to tie up loose ends, I turned Mike and Linda over to the police. And after getting out, they'll be caught by us, the gang. Criminals are more manageable and harder to escape, since they conspire to take over the company. And that homemade contract served as solid evidence. Charging Linda and Mike was easy. My grandfather was a civilian who has been upholding obligations and making a living in this area for a long time. In the past, he clashed with the police and sometimes cooperated with them in clamping down on semi-legal groups. Thanks to his connections at higher levels, it seems he managed this situation well. Even if Linda and Mike escape after their release, we will never let them go. Once they flee, they'll have to keep running for life, and life on the run is bound to be hard. Especially for Mike, he will face severe retribution from our executives as compensation for hitting me. Prison life will be a break from all this. Being cheated on by my wife was a shock, even for a gangster like me. The executives, understanding my plight, offered to introduce me to women who understand our world. Although I truly loved Linda and am not ready to move on, I'm considering at least going out for a meal. Being cheated on and nearly losing my company to Linda was tough, but I managed to deal with Mike brilliantly. Overcoming this ordeal will surely enrich my life.